We are tWoTcast, episode 361.
No, he does not. No. Okay.
All right, everyone shut the f*** up. Let's ready to record.
We like to start every show by yelling, "We are tWoTcast." Can you do that with me? On the count of 1, 2, 3, go. We are tWoTcast! Now we can start.
The Wheel of Time Reread Podcast. Explicit in R. Freaking rated. Jono's the wild card. Always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Thom is still obsessed with X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
We are
Hi.
Hey, Jono.
Hi. You're viewing, listening, reading, if somehow. tWoTcast, the Wheel of Time reread podcast. Now covering the fucking books in a new segment, which we'll unveil in a bit.
The fucking books.
Yeah.
Oh, a new segment.
know.
Let's bring out our guest right away because he's not so much a guest, right?
That is correct. It's always
He's
I'm Jono.
more like-
It's Joe.
Yeah. I'm Joe. Hey, Jono.
And as always, Thom.
Oh, Tom's here.
Oh, look, it's Thom.
From Dragonmount.com, but also he's a puppet now on the way of the leaf.
Well, not today. I'm meaty Thom.
Oh, me, Thom.
Also
Yeah,
can
definitely
be a
meat Thom.
puppet.
Sometimes he's over
Yeah.
there hanging out.
Don't reveal behind the curtain.
Sorry, I pulled the curtain back. And in fact, let me pull it back a bit more. Have I ever told you the backstory of that puppet?
No.
Is this called the meat curtain?
That is
That's the curtain he's pulling back, yeah.
It's more akin to a roast beef curtain.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, once or twice.
That girl at the top, though.
So
Just out the gate.
the first time I was on Way of the Leaf, they were like, we had fun, and they were like, "Oh, our guest next week canceled. Do you want to come back next week?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I bought a puppet in the interim, and I didn't tell him. So when I joined the call the next week, I had the puppet. So I couldn't find a puppet like that. I wanted to find a puppet that looked like me. So I was like,
Yeah.
puppet with a beard. The only options I could find were like a $200 puppet that was like a Viking, and I was like, nah.
Yeah,
Or-
too much.
Or a $15 puppet that was Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Did you give it a haircut?
I did. That's why he's wearing sandals, though. I left the sandals because.
I got it. Okay, yeah. Jesus Christ. I got it.
So
That's
yeah,
fitting. That's fitting to me.
Yeah.
Tom's here, everybody.
What up?
But it's not Tom. It's Tom.
It's Thom. It's
Get
other
it?
Thom. It's Thom.
Yeah. My brother
Thomas
is
Primus.
imminently due for having a child.
Ooh.
Not him.
His
They
wife.
haven't made that technology yet.
I was gonna say that's a feat.
His wife.
Well, congratulations. I hope everything comes out okay.
So do I.
Tom's really working on this thing called. Luckily his wife is not, but this is one geriatric pregnancy. Just on average with him there.
He's an old man, is what you're
That's
saying.
true. That's true story.
Yeah.
I'm surprised his old sperm were able to pull it out in the end.
I'm not convinced it's his.
Yeah. We'll find out when that text message happens.
He'll be like, well, that's weird.
It's like, that doesn't look like me at all. Why does it look like? Why does it have red hair?
Jono?
Whoops.
Oh, all right.
But it was
Wild
nice
Man
to-
Wyatt's here. Hola, amigos.
What up,
Tom's
Hey guys.
penis.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Oh, Glenn's here.
Glenn?
Ayush. Jono, why don't you tell us about your idea here?
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing?
So this is an episode I dreamed up while drinking.
Mhm.
I had to actually make a name for it that was clever, failed. But in essence, the idea is like, what character did you hate? And like at this point, that character would have to suck your dick for even read him or her. And then later on, you were like, well, I actually really enjoyed him or her. Or the opposite, really like this character, and you'd have to suck my dick to make me read this fucking point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And in unnecessary had to make something perverted out of it. It is called a twat69. Again,
That's correct. It's tWoT69, everybody.
yeah. When you think about that, it doesn't
When you
make sense.
pitched it to me like that, I was like, "Oh, I'm in." You said twat69, I was like, "I'm in." I didn't even read the rest of the message.
It was a way too long message.
What's that? You need someone named Tom, and that's the title? Done. I'm in. I'm here right now.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good call.
I have no.
Wadahalla
Watson. Hi. Good day. Good day.
It's my second favorite Australian right there.
Who's number one?
Linda Taglieri. I can't.
Oh yeah. We know some fun Australians.
It's true
you
story.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda, for all your work in the library too.
No, yeah.
I mean, those dolls she makes are like incredible.
Oh yeah, it's
Just
fucking nuts, man. When I
the
saw
most
her,
incredible thing I've ever seen in my life.
she makes all the costuming and stuff for it too. It's crazy.
But it's the scale that it's at and the level of detail that's in the costumes is like crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
She's so
it's artwork in and of itself, which is why I've seen it in the Jordan Carn Art Show, which is what we're talking about. Shout out Linda, that's right. Oh, tWoT69, that would be like good on the button. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, that's the creation.
It's the impetus of the idea.
Yeah.
It's definitely spoiler heavy because we're talking about the full series now. So this is spoiler heavy. Not that that's not normal for our show, but
I was gonna double check because some of my stuff dips into Memory of Light.
Yeah, this is full book spoilers. I guess I should have something to say that. But
yeah, that would be good. Probably. I was gonna go click on StreamYard because I have a really fun GIF of Kitty saying spoilers, but it's not my StreamYard. I forgot.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, boys. What do you want to? How do you want to start this, Jono?
Well,
Jono, this is your show. This is your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's let our guest of honor start. I'm fascinated with what you came up with because, the thing I put forth as for example was literally the entire Trekant family, and I think that is still every single.
Well,
one
there goes my list.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So there's. I agree. The one character that I actually have I want to say a lot to talk about is also a member of that family. Yeah. So I'm gonna put that aside for a second, and I'll go with a character that I started off liking, and then at the end of the series, ended up not liking, but not because I didn't like to read their point of views, but because they became a shitty person, and I was I was so surprised. Sheriam Bayanar, or
the mistress of the novice.
Yes,
she did become a shitty person.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked her when I first read the series, I was like 12, maybe 12 or 13 when I started reading it. So a lot of the I didn't really love a lot of the Aes Sedai characters as a 12-year-old boy. Except for Moiraine, I loved her. But most of the Aes Sedai characters are the older parent kind of character that a young kid probably wouldn't like. I especially hated Elida, but I mean, I don't think she never got redeemed. I hated her in the beginning and I hated her in the end.
Perfect.
Yeah. When the Shanshan took her, I was like, see you later, bitch. Don't hit you.
I would argue that's when I liked her.
Watching her leave on the back of
yeah, you're just like very pleasant ending to that character. I loved the end of that character.
But I always liked Sheriam. Her character always just seemed cool. She seemed nicer than the other Aes Sedai. She seemed more understanding,
motherly, looking out for them a little bit.
Yeah,
at first,
not even that old.
She's a redhead, and I love gingers, as Jono knows.
Mm-hmm.
I really when she got revealed to be a dark friend, I was she surprised me more than Varen, because I had my theories on Varen from early on when she lies early on.
Book two.
Book two, and Moiraine confirms that at the end of that book, and I was like, what the fuck? I remember going crazy. But
Is that something you picked up right away?
Yeah, the first time I was reading it because all right. When I started reading it,
I don't think I picked that up until a reread, but granted, which was relatively early on before the books were over. But
yeah,
before it was confirmed. But I mean, I didn't pick up on that the first time through.
I attribute it to I was reading it with like a group of friends of mine and like my best friend at the time his older brother, and we were like picking it apart and like really diving into it because we were actually it's been sitting on my desk for a couple of weeks now. We were playing the Wheel of Time role playing game at the time, so like we were playing within the story, so we were kind of
tWoTcast season 2 coming soon.
But yeah, no, Sheriam I really liked in the beginning, and then by the end, especially when you find out like why she joined the Black Aja, where it was like she basically just wanted power. And
it's weird, right?
Yeah,
it seems like an odd move for her.
Yeah, and she seems
she was Mistress of Novices. That's relatively high ranking, I suppose.
It's very influential. Yeah. Like, it kind of gives you the ability to touch or maneuver,
manipulate the younger people coming into the tower for sure,
or whatever you want.
But she was also on the Supreme Council of the Black Aja, so like she had the power in that regard too, prior to the Forsaken actually coming out.
Yeah, but it's totally like you don't see it coming because like when the accident happens with I think it's Egwene's testing when the ring's in there, right? Sheriam is like bent out of fucking shape.
Yeah, she's very upset.
Like when they get to the tower at the Great Hunt, Sheriam is the one who's there to like bring them in. Like, oh my god, so it's kind of sorry you got left behind. And
she even ends up on the good side of the tower when it splits. And she's with them and Salazar.
Yeah. And it definitely like what the fuck happened here. You even see her in New Spring, and like she's not a bad character at all.
Yeah, she was great in New Spring. That her relationship with I think that was also a thing too, because I really liked Suan and Moiraine early on. So her relationship with them also made me like her too more than the others.
Yeah. But then obviously you started to fucking hate her because you had to flip it over like in a 69.
Just like a twat 69.
Just exactly like that.
I've never had sex.
I remember being pretty shocked when she was Black Aja.
It was also her actions while she was with Egwene and the rebel Aes Sedai. She was very. It seemed like at the time seemed out of character for her, but then when we found out that she was like being like severely pressured by the Forsaken to like keep the rebel Aes Sedai and the tower Aes Sedai at odds with each other, like to make sure that they didn't come together. So like that made that made all her actions of like not really seeking harmony and like being kind of shitty within the rebel Aes Sedai group, forming her own little like power structure and like messing with people and not really like working together with anybody. She always kind of seemed like she had her own agenda, even outside of Egwene and Ramonda and Elaine and the Hall and her own little group. There's
a lot going on there with her.
It really is like a fascinating
where did it go?
A kind of real quick fall from grace that then all of a sudden realizes like, oh, that made a lot of sense. Yeah, I fucking hate this.
So Glenn said one of the earliest people the Wonder Girls suspected when they were first at the tower.
I think it was just because she was the Mistress of Novices, though, and it's like, oh,
yeah, I don't. I was also. I feel like it was even though they suspected everybody. They were basically like, we have to assume everyone's.
It could be anybody. Yeah.
But also, I mean, there was the thing with the Gray Man and like.
Oh, right, the Gray Man, the Gray Woman.
And she was like right there. Yeah. Was it a man?
It was a female Gray. They described her as a female Gray Man, dead.
Yeah, Gray Man's just a title.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's an interesting question, though. Like, even like, let's say you're having sex with this Gray Man, would you notice? Like, would you notice the penis?
That's true.
Yeah, or like
you wouldn't. I mean, suddenly you're getting fucked.
Yeah,
and you're just like, how did that happen?
It's a surprise every time it comes out.
That's the ultimate rapist.
God,
Yeah.
I
So
feel
anyway,
dirty now.
this gray woman, it's a lot
She's dead in her bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's honestly that's the only character that I want to say I like extremely like that I liked and then disliked.
If a spanker, then black.
Spanker, then black. Hey, Perrin's not black.
That's a good point.
Perrin spanks. Everyone spanks apparently. Listen, Robert Jordan had a particular fetish and it was spanking.
Let's rearrange that. Had particular fetishes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
You're 100% accurate, sir. What about you, Jono?
It's really hard to know where to go. Let's start with Morghese, because I think that when you first read about the matriarch of the Traken family, like she's fucking awesome, right?
Yeah, she's badass.
Yeah, sexy MILF.
Also redhead.
Yeah. Thank you. And
there's a lot of gingers in these books.
there's a lot. I'm purposely choosing something that'll just kind of evoke an erection from Thom. And Rand's kind of he bows to her the first time, but kind of takes a peek. And,
you do really get like
a nice eyeful of bosom.
I don't know, just the impression that she's genuinely a good monarch.
Yeah, she's
from the brief glimpse you get of her, like at first, I got like good impressions from, and also she like ultimately is kind to Rand in that moment. Yeah. So you're kind of like, all right, you're not that bad.
She Gareth Bryan, leave him in the dungeon for a bit. I'm sure it won't be a problem. Okay. Well, Elida, gives a foretelling hiding part of it, and and kind of creeps the hell out of everyone. And then
Wild Man Wyatt said, did Halima make Sheriam kneel?
Yeah, I mean, Halima was I think the best way to put it, randy bitch. So I'm sure,
yeah,
I'm sure she did horrible things. I mean, like the Forsaken were horrible in every sense of the word. So I could definitely see that.
Morghese is good till we start reading her POV. That's true to an extent.
Exactly where I'm going. Like, so, it's a really tough thing to actually deal with some of these things in a mature way, because obviously what the fuck happens to her is fucking miserable, right?
Sex with a female gray man would probably be similar to the ghost scene from Ghostbusters. Thank you, Beach.
For context, in Ghostbusters,
specifically Ghostbusters.
He has this bizarre dream in a kids movie where his pants become unbelted.
Is that a kids movie?
It's
PG.
And the line is, by the way, Bustin' makes me
true.
feel good. And like it just shows Dan Aykroyd's face just like, and then rolls off the bed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They can't say fuck once, but they can allude to a ghost giving.
They can allude to a ghost giving him a blowjob.
Yeah.
Is it a ghost job or a
in the bunk room where the rest of the men are presumably sleeping?
Like when they finish, would there be ectoplasm everywhere? I don't even know.
Ectogism. Just change a couple letters. Anyway, so back to Morghese. The unfortunate victim.
Obvious segue right there.
Yeah. But before,
straight back to Morghese.
Yeah, even before, like she has the very unfortunate. What a way to sell that. Just massive rape that happens to her by Valda. Mm-hmm. She's also been mentally and probably physically raped by Raven. So, by the way, very hot topic.
I think the key there is the mentally part.
Yeah,
for the Raven. Not that the other part's not horrible, but psychologically, I don't even think she was much of the same person anymore.
Or again, no. I was actually going to mention that because, I don't think book 1 or 2 Morghese would ever have considered pre compulsion would
Robin,
would ever have considered going to the White Cloaks for help.
I think, I agree, and I think even in a desperate situation like that, just based on the way that Elaine eventually tries to corral all the houses and get them in line and to solidify her ascendancy, but that's the avenue she probably would have taken. She would have just been like, "Oh, I burned all these bridges. Let me repair them slowly, and
Go to the White Cloaks. Yeah. So all that being said, again, extremely relevant points that we probably glossed over a lot in our younger days, which is disturbingly far in our past. Reading from her point of view fucking sucks.
Oh yeah, it's the worst. Yeah.
So on the whole
Morgase, like there was some books where you would flip to a Morgase chapter and I'd be like, oh no.
Where, do you remember what her first point was? It in the
her first POV
6?
is as she's climbing out like mentally from the fog of compulsion, as far as I can remember, and I think that's book 4.
I couldn't remember if it was that or when she's already in Amador.
No, it's well before that because she gets Talonvor, she gets Lenny, they get Basil Gill. I mean, like it's a strong character to be able to boss around a pensioner, a guy who formed you, and an innkeeper. Like she's a fucking.
Well, she's had a lot of practice, Jono. She was a queen.
Yeah.
Even in her lesser than state that she's now currently in that point. Some of that residual.
I did like her little troop that she put together though. I feel like it would have been a fun it would be a fun thing to watch on the show if they did it, which I don't think they would. But.
Morgase's storyline was the first storyline I realized could be cut from the show with almost zero effect on the story.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah. Glenn, you're not wrong, man.
I think the only thing that they need to do, and this is a whole different topic, but it entirely depends on what they do with Galad and if they go with the White Cloaks with him. Because all they really need is to position her to be in such a place that she can confront Galad at his moment at the end when he's a White Cloak and he wants to kill Perrin and Morgase is like, hey, wait a minute. But that's pretty much. Other than that, that's it.
It kind of forecasting. And by the way, for those who are into Snark, your response could have been, by the way. Like what character did you love and hate? And hopefully we love again. Depending on your thoughts, Ray Jukin is totally fine as an answer. How dare you? Because there are times where I'm like, but that being said, this is books only. And here's hoping for season 2. But it's gonna be really hard to figure out where the fuck they're gonna go with those plots because some of them, like Glenn says, who the fuck needs this? Especially at this rate. And then as she has become like the weird servant, non-servant, and Lenny's doing all the work.
I don't think they're gonna put her in almost at all, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll mention her because they got to have a queen of Camelin.
Well, we already skipped the big scenes that we had with her in the beginning, So
they'll do
not that you need that as her introduction as a character. I'm just saying,
Oh yeah. They'll do something. They'll throw her in.
They'll definitely have her. I just, I mean, just because of Elaine's storyline, they have to have her in there. But I don't think it's going to be much of a.
Yeah, I doubt they'll even have her have been a channeler, if anything, because what does she do with her channeling ability ever other than move a rag?
Well, in fairness, women do that all the time.
That's fair.
Jesus.
That's fair.
All right, well, glad we got there.
We got that out of the way early on. 26 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah.
She must have given Talonvor his first boner. Thank you, Wildman White.
He is what is he like?
He did seem rather asexual until later on when he finally was like, I'm in love with you.
Yeah. Well, he's Lancelot, right? He's like
I found him rather annoying, and he was a big part of her story. So there was that too. I'm just like, oh god,
yeah,
I can't take any more of this.
I never really migrate toward the male characters who are the cookie cutter, on the riding up on their white horse. I always I'm like, oh, you're so boring. Get out of here.
What coconuts were those? Those sounded off.
They're meat coconuts.
Yeah, I love the meat coconuts. Those usually
poor boy.
Yeah.
I don't feel sorry for him. He brought it all himself.
I think one last thing before we move on to whatever Joe's got prepared. I think maybe the biggest issue with with Morgase is everything she touches. Really, she brings the fuck down, right? Basil Gill was kind of fucking awesome in book 1. Afterwards, he's a little bit of a nervous. Lamgwin, he was pretty cool. He's actually stayed. Talivor is annoying to read, and then eventually we get to her in the plot with Perrin and Fael, which is miserable on its own. And then the plot with the fucking Aiel having captured them. It's she might be a bad STD and like just slowly catching everyone.
Does that? Oh man, who's the penicillin then?
Just young Talivor rubbing one off to the sign at the Queen's blessing.
Oh God,
that would never have happened, Beach, because Lamgun would have chased him off.
That's true.
Get out of here, you freak! Let me go back to petting my cat.
Yeah. That crazy guard from the freaking from the palace is back again.
Yeah, that weird dude that keeps eyeing the sign.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's about to jerk off. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's posting up in the alley across the street, and he keeps backing further into it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nice though. At least he's circumspect with his circumspect.
Yeah.
He's circumcised, did you say?
That's what my assumption was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said circumspect. Joe?
Yes?
Feel free to go with any member of the Tracken family.
Is that what you want to do?
No, we don't have to do that at all.
No.
I just figured you were, ready and locked and loaded on that.
On Elaine? I think everybody on our podcast is aware of my dislike for that character.
What?
I don't know. I don't know how much we need to go into detail. I liked her for about 5 minutes, Like,
now you sound like Rand.
That's not true.
I'm indifferent toward Elaine. She's not my favorite of the female channelers, but I don't hate her.
Well, I'll go with a hot take if you want me to.
I love your hot takes.
Sure.
Hot cakes. Ass.
Where are you going to go? I do have something, but
you go first then, because that's way better than me just yelling.
Well, I just don't want to bury the lead, or in the sense of that we've been talking about lesser known characters. Let's talk about Matt Cawthon.
He's definitely my least favorite of the three.
I'm fascinated. There's two. Is it book 1 and 2, Matt Cawthon? That's kind of
so. It's I dislike him, and then I love him, and then I dislike him again when Sanderson starts writing him, and then by the end I actually like him again because I think Sanderson brings it back. So he's really a 69-69.
Yeah.
Do they cancel each other out?
Yeah. No, they count double.
Oh yeah, so it's good.
That's a good
it multiplies. He's not like so when I first read the books, I actually really liked Matt from the start. Yeah. But rereading the books, I went, what did I like about this guy? Until book 3, he's not really likable. And a lot of it's dagger related, so he's half crazy. So I'm I'm not sure why I liked him so much. But at any rate, upon a reread, I realized I don't really like Matt until book 3. He's pretty annoying and he's kind of an asshole, especially surrounding the dagger. Yeah. And then, book 3, Matt is just glorious and I love him to death. And so on from there, basically. And then, we've talked about this before, but Sanderson writing Matt, I think he really focused on the characters that needed to be focused on for that first book. And one of them was not Matt. And I think he suffered from that in that book. And I think he never quite got his voice right until even A Memory of Light, not even in the middle one, but I think, but until the very, very end, when they finally give him control of the military and let him do his thing, and it becomes awesome Matt again. Yeah. It's not quite there for me really until he's the very end of the books, basically. And he's just kicking ass at the end of the books though. So even when they meet up and he has the he jokingly says he has a badger, and I think he really does. I can't remember, but that's one of those things where you're just it seems like such a book 1 Matt thing to do. He wouldn't do that anymore. He's not that man anymore. You know what I mean? And Jordan had given him so much growth, and to see him backtrack to that, I was like, that seems a little silly. I know he did it as a joke, but as a tongue-in-cheek joke, but I don't know, and a childish joke, but it seems kind of disingenuous to the character. until he really starts like commanding and doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, Matt's eye in the sky thing was pretty cool, and I really
that was awesome.
Yeah,
Just a virtual battle map, like that's amazing. And I know that was all Sanderson, but like I loved it. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. The only complaint that I had about Sanderson, and I'm curious to see if you agree and what your view is on that, is the only complaint I had about Sanderson in regards to Matt was it felt like he couldn't get his voice right, and not just like his voice, like his dialogue, but like he felt wrong in all the scenes, especially in
the humor, the sense of humor is off. Like there's subtleties to his character that I think, like if you're not Jordan, you're just probably not going to do it right. And no offense to, I mean, I'm sure Sanderson did as much work as he possibly could have to get that down as like as quickly as possible as that book came out. But like, it just felt to me like that was one of the ones that, sadly to me, is like, well, again, one of my favorite characters, but really suffered in Gathering Storm, and then maybe a little bit in Towers of Midnight, but and then Memory of Light kind of finally comes back around to being like, that's the man I remember.
How do you feel about? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's our assumptions are, like if there's one character that, Brandon Sanderson, who is like by all accounts, have met him before, a good person who is sober, non-gambler, never been in battle, as opposed to Jordan, who loved his whiskeys, loved his gambling, that kind of thing. About as far Matt Cawthon is like as far out of the fucking wheelhouse as that's possible to be.
Yeah,
so you're going to miss that point of view to a certain extent.
Yeah, does he have any? I was just going to say, does he have any rascal rogue type characters that are even like I can't think of any.
Not off the top of my head.
How many of you read of his books? Have you read like all of them, most of them?
I haven't read the most recent Stormlight book, but I'm pretty sure I've read everything else.
I haven't read 4 of the Stormlight Archive either. Is that the most recent one? It's not on 5 yet, is it?
No, 4.
Yeah, it's 4, right? Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't read that either. I'm not as well versed in Sanderson as you guys. Like, so I've read some of it, but not all of it. But
no, I haven't.
Well, Jono's read most everything, right, Jono?
I guess so. Yeah.
I haven't reread his stuff a lot. Like I read all of the only books I've reread are Mistborn, Elantris, and Skyward.
Elantris is great. Did you think Kelsier kind of matches up with a Matt type character?
That's his version of it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the closest one I can think of.
It's the closest. Yeah, I would say it's the closest. Yeah,
and also, but also not good like that. No. Not good like Matt Cawthon.
No,
I found Kelsier annoying. Like
me too. I liked Vin way more.
Oh yes,
yeah. In fairness.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next character.
I'm rereading Elantris right now.
Yeah, I
says Reese Elantris.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
We probably should actually cover that for the simple fact that
the fool guy in Stormlight. What's that guy's name that travels?
Oh, Wit.
Yeah.
Wit. I can see that, but Wit's more highbrow.
Yeah. Wit is, despite the name, Wit is actually.
It's similar though.
I would say Wit's more like a Thom Merrilin.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he definitely loves to play music and bard-like character, but
he's just more highbrow than Matt.
Oh, Hoyd. Wit equals Hoyd.
Hoyd. Yeah, Wit is Hoyd. Yeah. But I still feel like in all aspects of Wit or Hoyd, he's more of a Thom Merrilin type character than a Matt type character. He's because Matt is more of like the rogue.
And Wit is really more of like, let me guide you down a path with my wisdom of the multiverse or whatever he wants to call it.
Matt's never a teacher, he's never the.
How dare you?
Who does Matt teach? Older?
That's it.
I'll teach you how to play this game. Get here, kid, you bother me.
He teaches a generation of readers what is or is not sex that may or may not have been okayed by the person, while we're all like, hey, that's kind of cool, and then afterwards we're like,
wait a minute,
he was saying that.
So there is actually one thing that I was hanging out with Nerdy Nightly podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, Leslie
Yeah.
Nerdy?
Yeah. No, Nerdy Nightly.
I'm just kidding.
My bad.
That was her. She's
That's
bad.
right.
Anyway, go on.
So I was hanging out with him, and he brought up a point about Matt that I never noticed before. And I think it's just because I haven't read the last 2 books like 20 times. Yeah, I've only read them like 3 or 4 times.
Idiot.
There's a scene, and I went back and reread it, and he's absolutely correct, where Tuan is in a wagon, and 2 Aes Sedai come in, and Selusha comes up from behind and collars them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and she's like super happy that she's collared these 2 women. Like, well, she views them as things.
Yeah,
to be used, like they're not humans, and she's like ecstatic that she gets these new things to play with now, new domain to play with. And when Matt sees her like happy like that, his internal monologue is, "Oh my God, she's never been more beautiful in this moment than right." So it's like he doesn't like. He basically has like this, I don't know, slave fetish with her, and it's weird.
Yeah, totally normal. Yeah,
it's just it felt really gross. Like when I having going back and reread it, and like he doesn't have any thoughts really about the Aes Sedai and them being collared.
That seems so not him.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know.
So we should probably ask Sanderson some questions off podcast.
Good luck.
Yeah. So, never mind. Well, let's get back on to.
I have one fun tidbit
Sure.
about Matt and Tuan specifically. No, it's true.
Yeah, no, we can talk about Matt some more. It's Matt.
I'll show you some in the late show.
He likes to see his women happy.
That's fair.
Matt's first feature is Tuan. I got a lot of Tuan haters. Matt teaches over, haha. All right,
that's true. I mean, I made
that joke already.
Were you guys at the first Jordan Con?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember opening ceremonies?
Yes.
No, maybe. I don't know.
Tom
it was
Doherty,
15 years ago, Tom.
I know. Well, this one thing sticks out. Tom Doherty spoiled Matt and Tuan for everybody.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? All right. So
I probably wasn't in opening ceremonies then. I would have remembered that immediately.
So for those who don't know who Tom Doherty is, he is the founder and at the time president and CEO of Tor Books. Yeah, and he founded Tor Books. So they did like a little bit of a Q&A, I want to say, at after the opening ceremonies. And Harriet was there, Maria, Alan, Brandon Sanderson. They literally like 2 weeks prior to that had announced that he was finishing the series.
Yeah.
And someone asked about the Outrigger novels. So, New Spring had come out.
Yeah.
And they had spoken about how they were going to do other Outrigger novels. And Tom Doherty just like Harriet started talking, and then Tom Doherty like jumped to answer the question, and he's like, "Well, we were going to do 2 other Outriggers, and the ones that were planned were Tam Althor joining the Illianer Companions, and a story about Matt and Tuan set after the last battle with them returning to the Sonshin." And fucking the Towers of Midnight hadn't even been written yet. So basically he just spoiled that Matt and Tuan survived the last battle, that they're together, that they're going to this
wow, I'm glad I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so
not that I would have cared all that much, but I might have cared.
Yeah.
But hadn't Jordan already said he had plans for, and maybe he hadn't revealed what they were, but they were going to be.
Yeah, he had not revealed what
they were. Like why Lan and Moraine, how they kind of have this harrowing journey to get to the 2 rivers just in time. And what draws them there?
I knew about the Tam one, and I knew about the Matt one, but that might have been after the fact. At that point, like
it's been talked about, like that he said it there. But you should have seen fucking Harriet and Maria's face and Brandon's face. Like they were just.
They're probably like, "What the fuck, man?" Harriet should have just immediately been like, and then we canceled those plans, and we don't know what we're going to do with any of the characters anymore.
Yeah,
It's all none of it's planned.
Who is Matt and Perrin? Nah,
I think Matt's a teacher. He teaches all the band of the Red Hand how to do everything they do.
Yeah, I guess.
Literally
I believe that Elaine taught them that. Elaine,
I'm kidding. He taught them how to stay alive when they were fighting the Aiel outside of Carrion.
Yeah. I like Hindersnap, the Hindersnap bit with him, and that was fun.
You did?
Yeah, it was funny. I thought it was fun.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I a lot of people hate it, but I didn't hate it. But yeah, Jono hated it. For
I thought the Bubbles of Evil were a fun idea.
I did too. I just don't think that was done.
Hindersnap.
It wasn't peppered in enough throughout to make it. That's such a prominent thing to show up so late in the game. I guess
that's fair. That's fair.
Honestly, I love the Bubbles of Evil concept. I think it's one of the coolest things that he kind of this little miasma drifting along the pattern that has a slight magnetism towards the Taviran.
Yeah.
But the way that they come up really hard and fast in book 4 especially, and then then he's like, whoa, this is going to be a 14-book series. Well, 12.
Yeah, I need to dial this down.
I have to dial things back.
These need to come way less frequently. I like to imagine it's because that's when they were all together last, basically.
That's cool.
Sense.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fun headcanon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're done with talking about Matt. Want to move on to somebody else?
I'm ready when you are. I mean, I can go on for a while about my other character. I just wanted to. I wanted to talk about someone other.
Do you agree with my 6'9" scenario with Matt though?
Yes, because I liked him. But I liked him. I liked him again for the final time, way later. I liked the final. I didn't like Matt again until the Fields of Merilor, pretty much.
It's a short.
That's kind of what I was saying. Yeah.
It's a short 6, right? Books 1 and 2.
Yeah.
A long 9.
Yeah.
And then a short,
my head only reached his navel at one point, and then I got the rest of the way.
Yeah. Come on in.
Literally, come on in.
Tom, who do you got? Who do you got next up your sleeve?
So Galad.
Oh yes, back to the Trakan family. I wouldn't.
Or
I'm
the
not
Damodred.
shocked.
The Damodreds.
Okay.
Because
fair.
Because he is a Damodred.
So dislike or like dislike? Where did it go? Did you hate it first? Backwards? Is this a backwards one?
Oh no, yeah, no. This is. I completely started off actually legitimately I hated him as much as I hated Elida.
Oh really? Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he is a prick when you first meet him in the garden.
Yeah,
he's very easy to dislike. I agree.
Yeah, I don't like characters without. Well, not just I don't like people without nuance to their thought. Things are not black and white, and the fact that he would, just by the letter of what he thought was the law or the rule, he would, turn anybody in at any point, and I didn't like that. And then the stuff that he does, him joining the White Cloaks, and
he's an annoying character in D&D that only does what he thinks.
He's a paladin.
Yeah. He's lawful good, and it's super frustrating.
I would even say he's chaotic good.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay.
Because he's good. Even
season 2.
Yeah,
no kidding.
He's good to even his own detriment.
Yeah. What he does in
which is insane.
Is it Shara, the town where the prophet is? Starts a fucking riot and all that.
Yeah. Malden?
Malden, yeah.
No, Malden's in books 11 and 12. I'm talking about where they are.
Yeah, you're right. Malden's is that where Perrin rescues Fayo?
Yeah, that's where Perrin rescues
Yeah. All right.
It's something with an S, I believe. I'm gonna be way off on that, but it's.
Well, Shara is
Well, I know it's the continent of the fucking West.
Yeah, it's not that.
But it's something to that, and it's kind of close.
What you're talking about?
Yeah, it's south of Johanna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's where
he gets the girls out on the boat. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That is indeed, as Thom was saying, that's to his fucking detriment.
Wada Holocausti's got it for us. Samara.
Yeah, it's close enough. Thank you, Wada.
Yeah.
That's why we love our chat.
Yeah. Because they know more than we fucking do.
Because they remember things that we don't.
You're not. Yeah. because we're done.
Well, that was
Yeah, I agree with Glenn. I fucking hated him. And then by the end of the series, I was like, this guy is pretty awesome. And I really
great character. I used to hate him, but thinking about him a lot, I really like him. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He really comes full circle as a character. He really does. Like he starts off as this guy that you fucking hate, and then throughout the series, other characters and situations he's put in force him to chip away at his ridiculous ideals, and then slowly he becomes a genuine human being, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
he has true growth, like a true actual character growth. And his story, like his personal story, is so much more interesting than most of the other main character channelers. Like you know, his parentage, the idea of him going into the White Cloaks and being a member of the royal family that has channelers within it, and like he has a really interesting storyline. If you were to just write a story about him, it would be interesting.
You're not wrong. Like, he's kind of a fascinating. Like he's because you see him in book one, and like you have such detailed fucking analysis of him. It's not negative about what the fuck's wrong with him. Like he's just this minor character that's from an important family that you just kind of fucking hate. When he shows up, you're like, oh, here we fucking go.
Yep.
Right? The chicks are getting wet staring at him, but he's annoying, right? But when you think about how torn he must be.
That's part of it, though. Like when Matt puts them in his place with the quarterstaff and that sword fight that everyone fucking loves, but like, and why wouldn't you? But you're like, yeah, fuck you, Galad. Yeah. Like you're immediately like, yes, he deserves that shit. Take him down a notch. Galad, you feel bad for at the time. I mean, Gwen, I'm sorry. Galad, you're just like, fuck Galad.
Honestly, though, in that scene that was one of the scenes that was a little bit of a redemption for me because he isn't a sore loser.
No, he's not. No, that's true.
He congratulates Matt, like he appreciates his skill. So
he has to. It's part of his code.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. But
Wildman Wyatt said we should have liked him from the start, or we should have liked him from the start because of how Elaine talked about him.
He's the red herring.
Elaine hates him, therefore he must be good.
Yeah, therefore, I mean, if Elaine hates him, then he's got to be good.
I guess Elaine is another character that I kind of liked in the beginning and then was like meh toward the end. Like I wasn't really.
I'm full on hate. I'm full on like to hate on that one.
I like Elaine through the first few books.
It's Robert Pattinson. He starts in Twilight and becomes Batman.
That's a great analogy.
That's fantastic. Good one, Beach.
Yep.
As always.
Great analogy.
First off, you know where he actually starts? Where does it all begin?
Harry Potter, of course.
Harry Potter. That's true.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's true.
Good one, Jono.
That's true.
Good one, bringing that joke back every time we possibly can.
Yeah. But like I said, though, his storyline is arguably so much more interesting than anyone else's. Like it's way more interesting than Gowan's. And
100%.
And even like in some cases, like Matt and Perrin, like he's now we know for sure he's a channeler. Like I said, he has the royal family line of Kyrian and Camelin.
Yeah.
He's half brother to Rand. Like there's a lot of really interesting things there. Like
I really wish they had gone more into that. Like
other than just
them meeting in a way that made sense as brothers. Yeah. Without forcing it, I don't know. That would have been cool.
Demandred just being like, "Ha! I killed your brother."
Yeah, he's just like.
So
I hate Demandred so much. I hate his character.
No, you hate Bal the Willed. Demandred was awesome.
What's all right? Now we're going off the rails now because I'm gonna make you pay for that. What is awesome about Demandred? Describe to me.
He's in like 2 chapters in book 6, and I like them.
I was actually gonna go.
And for a really long time, we all thought he was Maz from Tame, so I thought he was really cool.
Okay.
I was actually going to throw Demandred as like a weird fucking like here's the strange one. Like maybe it's backwards 6 to 9, so it's just like a double rim job thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a 9-9. That's all.
Invert a little more. All done that. So Damon Dread is definitely like a fascinating fucking character at first, right? Whether or not the Tame and Dread thing was real or not, whatever. But like when you first see him, he's part of this like fucking kind of cool cabal with the rest of the with a few of the Forsaken.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing some weird like dark friend shit with on behalf of the Dark One, obviously, with Shadar Haran. Like, you know, he's ruining shit left and right when you first see him. Like he's like utterly fucking like things up for the light. And then he just kind of goes down. Like you don't really see him for a while.
For a really long time, he was Mesmer Tame. Well, everyone thinks that. I don't know if that's pretty. Everyone's pretty sure that that's the case.
Yeah.
The Wild is a stone cold fox, brother Dan.
Yeah,
Brother Dan, what's up, brother Dan? I love you.
Hey, brother Dan. Yeah, love you.
Hope
you feel better.
By the way, we for those who we're going to or usually join the tWoTcast for tonight. We are going to postpone our normal first time reader show for tonight, but we will be back next week with chapters 9, 10, I think 11 and 12, but at least 9 and 10.
6 and 9, yeah.
Yeah, 6 and 9 also. Right. We'll just go back to 6 just for Crown of Swords. We're doing Crown of Swords.
And that's the 4th book?
No.
Good.
That was a test.
Which book is it?
It's 7, but you look on your face,
7.
It like,
I'm like, no, that's Shadow Rising.
Yeah.
Normally we'd say something like, now watch Thom as a puppet on this other show. But
I'm just meat. I'm gonna be meat Thom for the rest of the day.
Not tonight. Also, that does mean you don't have a hard out, so we can just talk into the wee hours in the morning.
I have a hard in right now.
Yeah, we got a hard in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But no, so to continue staying off the rails with what did he say? Random
glad meeting a sweat tent. Hey, your junk hooks to the side, just like mine.
Oh shit! Yours is to the left, mine's to the right. We're twins.
Wyatt and Wyatt, they have the same moles on their dicks.
Perfect. What would it be shaped like now? I don't know. Fuck. That's gonna haunt me tonight. Honestly, I think I would like if they cut the entirety of Demandred's storyline out of the show, I'd be happy, and then just gave him Agenor. Like Agenor is a much more interesting Forsaken.
Oh,
than Demandred.
You're not wrong.
So here's the thing, and a lot of people have been talking about this. Like, are they going to have 13? Are they going to like do all of them?
I mean,
I really hope they do.
I don't think they are.
I know. They probably won't, and I really hope they do.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the statues, and there's only 7. Mm-hmm. So, like,
yeah, I don't know what that means. Yeah,
I mean, we don't know if that's confirmation for sure that there's only going to be 7 Forsaken, but it's easy to combine a lot of them because, like I said, first of all, Demandred is the easiest because he's completely useless. He does nothing for the majority of the series.
What about Bilal?
Really amazing conversations at Shaul Golan. Then he's gone.
Bilal is the most.
Bilal's useless. Yeah,
Bilal is the most. Bilal, I could say that. Yeah, Bilal is the most. But Bilal and Demandred, I would say, are the same. They have the same story.
So they're saying 8 statues, not 7.
Was it 8? Okay,
I don't know if that's correct. I don't remember.
I'll pull up.
Are we really going to know the Chosen at all? Old Rosier says. I think so.
Yeah, because they're going to be our window into just like in the books, they're going to be our window into the Age of Legends. So,
I think if they cut Morgus, they cut Robin. That's an interesting scenario too. There, that's an easy one to cut. You're right. That's an easy one to cut.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is.
See, I don't think they're going to cut anyone per se. I think they're going to do.
They're just not going to be prominent.
Yeah,
combining. Yeah.
So
Ishmael could totally just do what Bilal does for book 3 for Dragon Reborn. Or the whole thing could just be Ishmael.
Balefire.
Yep.
Get Balefire. Yeah, they just won't do that. You know,
except the Balefire. But Agenor is a fucking geneticist.
Oh, he's great. I love Agenor.
How awesome would it be to get a flashback of him?
Also, they're both Agenor and Balthamo? How do you say
Balthamo.
Yeah. They're just terrifying when you first see them in book 1. One, you don't know anything about the Forsaken much at all at that point, but like just terrifying. And then the way they just rip through the whole team like it's nothing. Like just terrifying.
Including Moiraine, who up until that point was like, fucking summoning walls of fire and like killing an entire
and they're just like, oh, you get out of here.
You were gonna say something though. You were
flick you off to the side. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, the Agenor, it would be really awesome to see either if they have Agenor live longer, a scene maybe of him creating new Shadow Spawn, or a flashback to him creating Shadow Spawn.
That'd be cool.
Using science and the one power to do kind of freaking splicing of animals and humans and making
animals fucking dudes. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
Have you been on my computer? Sorry.
I have.
Spoilers for what's on Tom's computer.
I feel like that's such a more interesting backstory to why, to someone falling, because he's like Dr. Frankenstein. You know what I mean? He's the evil Dr. Frankenstein is the villain of that story, but he's we need
a hippo trolley.
Oh my god, that would be terrifying. That's terrifying.
That would be terrifying.
That's terrifying. But he goes to the shadow because the light won't, the forces of good won't allow him to do his experiments that he wants to do, and Demandred is just jealous of Lews Therin. Come on,
But
we really rolled into Demandred. I didn't mean to steal Galad's thunder.
No, you're good. I told you we were going off on a tangent because I was going to make you own liking Demandred.
I know. And honestly, though, I really do enjoy those scenes from book 6 when he's doing the whole.
I think he's awesome.
To the Dark One.
He's just.
He makes it feel like he's going to be important in that book. And then for the rest of the series, you're kind of like, where the fuck is he? So maybe it's that. But for some reason, I'm always like, oh, he's cool. But then his final reveal is like, oh, this is where I've been the whole time. I'm like, really?
Yeah. But any of the male Forsaken could have had his dialogue and been just as cool.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. He's replaceable. But they didn't.
Yeah. So here's a weird one. Watch this. If we're doing weird tangents, unless you want to go back to Gallup, that's fine.
Whatever you want to do, man. This is your show.
Yeah, Jono. Say what you need to say.
A thing instead of a character that I loved at first, and then just
a thing. Interesting.
The Blight. Do you remember how fucking creepy the Blight is?
Oh yeah, it was a lot scarier in the beginning.
And when you're reading Eye of the World, as they're going through it, first off, obviously Trollocs and Mirdraw are scary, right? Good start. And then you have this creepy ass forest that's just rotting and decomposing, and
everything that you touch is going to poison you and kill you.
Yeah, even the trees were coming to life and killing things.
The trees are attacking you, and then there's worms, whatever the worms may or may not be, because clearly there's a reference from Demandred, and I think it's Grendel. It may have been Lysandra, actually, but anyway, the Forsaken are talking about the fact that the worms can't transition to whatever the fuck they would be in their second life.
Yeah,
I assume it's butterflies. Giant creepy ass butterflies.
Mothra, we love you, Mothra. Sorry,
but about to even get to the Green Man, you have to go through the passes, and whatever the fuck's in the passes scares the shit out of things that are already here, including and there's things on the other side of the passes that are even creepier than that, and you're like, what the fuck is this building up to? And the answer is, we'll never see.
Yeah. Nothing.
I couldn't wait.
The part where Fael is behind enemy lines, so to speak, in the Blight with the Horn of Valir, and she's going through what she's going through, and that really all she's mostly concerned about is the fact that there's Trollocs and shit around, and the Blight itself isn't really much of an issue, is disappointing. For the Blight later on,
Yeah. I like to think, that Robert Jordan and then Brandon Sanderson, because I know Robert Jordan said in a lot of interviews that he liked, because I remember him being asked a lot, you have a lot of storylines and a lot of characters. Are you going to wrap everything up, or will be things left open? I like that he left things open because it gives us a chance to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't do the show, like, you know, we get a chance to talk about, like, theorize about stuff.
Wada Halakasi said the blight is quiet because the dark one is
distracted. I thought I remember them talking about, like,
you know what, they
like,
do say that, and I do remember that. And
convenient bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's the same. Like, that's why Frodo and Sam couldn't just ride the eagles straight to Mount Doom. You know what I mean? Like you have to distract them. You have to pull the armies out for them to just go in, you know.
So the dark one, what you're saying is the dark one's pullout game is better than we thought.
I mean, he's the pullout king.
He pulled out of the blight a little bit.
Sectionals.
Got it. No, but like I always wondered. So like, if you look
modern
at the
contemporary,
if you look at the map of the Wheel of Time, the blight kind of is it the same latitudinal line like, across the whole.
Correct.
I'm glad I got that right because
I would have said longitude.
Latitude, you climb like a ladder.
Even in the
in Shanshan,
which means it crosses over the water. Does it go under the water? Is the ocean blighted too?
Yes.
Fucking blighted ocean. Like
they call it the I think it's the Dead Sea. I'm pointing to a map that no one can see. Good for me.
Like they call it the. I just realized this is not a helpful visual aid.
Yeah.
Over yonder.
It's about like against like the Dead Seas or something like that. That's what the sea folk call it. Yeah. Because like there is nothing that kind of swims up through there.
Dark one has 3 prongs but no children.
Oh, that's great.
Thom, there's a long-standing theory on our channel that the Dark One has a 3-pronged plan.
I don't think I've heard this before.
Stupid to go into.
It's
headache, weather, and rape. There's a lot of rape. There's a lot of headaches, and there's a lot of. He just plays with the weather. That's all. For the majority of the books, he really doesn't do a whole lot of anything. That's
true. I mean, were you reading a lot of Terry Goodkind at the time when you came up with this plan initially?
No.
Very.
Okay. Sorry. But the other part of the blight is also it's in like it covers the entire northern pole. So does that mean like there's an ice? Blight.
We'll never know. We never went up there.
I know. I want to I think that would be terrifying to see the stuff that lives there.
Well, so here's the only problem, right? So the ice giant was going to come down, just giant block of ice, but the actual that blight border, hot and muggy as shit, just melts every time.
Yeah. So he's like the abominable snowman from Looney Tunes.
Yeah, just couldn't make it.
You just couldn't make it down there.
Yeah.
Files group got torn up pretty good during.
Yeah, Thorstein said Files group got torn up pretty good during the last battle.
While in the blight, they did, but we don't see it a lot on screen.
Yeah, I mean, and also wasn't it just like people freaking out and running away and stuff? Like I don't think it was like.
I think it might have been a bubble of evil. Actually, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was a bubble of evil. That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't read that book as much as the others, so
I'm not sure what's happening. But Al Thorstein's comments got put into the chat like 100 times in a row.
That was happening,
and it's just like it's just all his comments.
It's all right, buddy.
No, it's fine.
You don't have to fix your spelling mistakes. I can't spell for the life of me.
Oh yeah, it's adorable that people try to do that. I really don't care. We get what you're trying to say. Yeah.
And ADHD. So
also, I type so quick and sloppily. Like, come on.
Yeah. I'm not expecting you to. It looks like a third grader wrote it.
There was an interesting question though.
What's in his basement?
What female Forsaken could you drop to keep some near balance to the rest of them? You know,
no, the female Forsaken are way more interesting.
They are more interesting. Yeah. And then he says Masana probably. There's a lot of comments, but you know, or merge Lanfear and Lasana from Wada Halakasi.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
I don't hate that idea.
You could merge a lot of them, but I think all of the female Forsaken stories are so much more interesting than the male. Than other than Agenor and maybe Samael are more interesting than the male Forsaken stories. I mean, like Samael is still the same as Demandred, where he's like
jealousy.
Yeah, jealousy of Lews Therin, but he's at least got a little bit of an interesting story in the sense of like he's kind of like the brute, and he's not one of those.
Yeah. You could combine them.
I'd watch that.
Samael.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you could.
Because I mean, just Demandred, it really is just like a Samael light beer, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The whatchamacall, the little statues that we see in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The Sangreal, the Choden Cow.
No. The statues of the Forsaken.
Oh, the Forsaken. Yeah.
Oh, in
that we saw in the show. Yeah. The one of them looks a lot like Samael. He's got hair. He's got a full head of hair, and he's got a beard, and he's got a star. So like,
okay, yeah.
Whether or not that's going to be the exact character of Samael from the books, or if it's going to be combined or whatever, at least his likeness is depicted in those statues.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the female Forsaken, you know, I always confuse Semiraj. Semiraj was the healer, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, Semiraj was Masana was the
torturer.
Yeah. So the Masana was the teacher.
Yep. Which is
then-
why Masana.
She's in the White Tower.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Masana is like, they talk about her having gangs of children that she turned to the shadow that would rove through the cities, killing people and turning them in. Like, that's horrible, but that's interesting as fuck. Like, you know,
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
So, one of the things
Which Forsaken is Elon Musk.
Oh God,
He's definitely been replaced.
Morden, definitely Morden.
Yeah,
so
you think
one
so?
of the things that we're going to cover at some point, bizarrely, we have never covered, is, you know, the World of the Wheel of Time. You know, the big white book that came out between books 7 and 8.
Yeah.
We're never going to cover that. I mean, what am I saying? We'll cover everything.
You're going to fucking cover it. But one of the things that's interesting in it,
We literally read the companion from cover to cover.
yeah, the companion was such a fun fucking read on its own.
It was.
That was a fun.
There's one particular entry in that book though that I don't care for.
Oh, I wonder which one it is.
Yeah, it's the one where they kill me in the fucking companion. That's the one.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you know your fate.
That's true.
Tom.
That's
What
true.
if you didn't know?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Did I live? Did I die?
Yeah.
You'd have to
yeah.
ask Sanderson.
That's
Yeah.
He would never answer you.
He would never
Let's
answer.
get back on track. TWOT 69.
So anyway,
We had way too many tangents.
one of the things that is interesting though that we should cover is, like, in the big white book, there is a fuck ton of like weird information about each Forsaken and what he or she may have done during the Age of Legends. It's
Yeah.
all pretty fucking gnarly and disgusting. So anyway, we should probably cover that.
The one thing to keep in mind too about the big white book, and Maria has said this at JordanCon a few times when people bring it up.
The artwork's amazing.
Which one?
That's
The
always
artwork is
the
amazing?
artwork's amazing.
Oh
Yeah.
no, the artwork is bad, but no. It's written. If you go and read the four whatever the
forward, yeah,
it's written by. It's supposed to be written by
a scholar.
an Aes Sedai, yeah. So it's the truth as she understands it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I always liked that there was a
I
perspective.
like that too. Yeah,
There was
I kind of
clear
like that.
perspective. Like,
It also gives him as an author a little wiggle room to be like, oh, I need to change this or I need to change that later on.
Yeah,
I mean, like, yeah, that's maybe a bullshit thing to do, but I don't think so. I think that's a smart thing to do as an author to be like, let me give myself a little. I don't want to like write this in stone. Like maybe if we say it's from the perspective of this person, like gives me a little bit of leeway.
yeah, we also don't know the circumstances of that book coming out. You know, that could have been like Tor being like, put out another book right now and make it this thing, and he didn't really like it. So
Yeah.
it's a fascinating.
Which character is Meet Tom in the books? To fear the full story, check out tWoTcast episode, whatever the fuck. What Tom was on.
exactly. Alcoholic covered me, and he's got it.
Yeah. Baird, the Stone Shaper in Memory of Light prologue. That is correct.
What you got, Joe? Or do you want me to go next?
Is it me?
I have other characters that I could talk about of liking and disliking, or vice versa.
Go for it.
No, I want John. It's Jono's turn. Jono needs to go.
Okay, all right, Jono, you go.
I don't know. Let's use his up because we got more of we have other Toms in the future.
Oh, that's true. We're gonna have other Toms on. All right, Tom, what do you got?
So as a character that I didn't like in the beginning and liked toward the end, specifically just of the I want to mention the show as well. Nynaeve. Like, I did not like Nynaeve at all in the early, and I still don't. Like, I don't like early book Nynaeve. I like her even less.
Terrible bitch.
Yeah, it's not even just. It's not. I mean, like, yes, she is, but it's not just that. It's the lying to her friends and to
herself.
And to herself, yeah. She's a pathological liar. She makes up her own world, essentially, where she's right and never wrong. And even when she's wrong, it's someone else's fault. And I don't like when people don't own their shit. And there's often times in the books where she refuses to, like, own fuck-ups that she has, and it's to people's detriments. Like, she arguably gets people killed because she refuses to give people information because it'll make her look bad.
You're 100%. Yeah. So my hot take was going to be
I have no argument against this.
I love what she.
I want to say I disagree because I love her all the way through, but you're wrong. You're not wrong.
No. I don't understand how you can read Nynaeve's point of view. All right, like, regardless of what she turns into, how you can read Nynaeve's point of view in books like 1 or 2 and think, I really like this character. Because in book 1, all she does is try to deny everything, even though it's clearly true. All she does is try to, like filthy Aes Sedai, filthy this, trying to, and she even well, that doesn't make sense, but fuck it all. Yeah. Like, it's massively illogical. It's because she's a woman. It's just massively, just so fucking frustrating. And
can we put? Is there a disclaimer that Jono?
Yeah,
we don't support
on the screen right now.
There you go. Thanks. No, but
not till the drowning did she change. I agree with that Overseers. It's mostly after that whole sinking of the ship in the middle of the river kind of scenario that she breaks through her bond, but really shifts as a character from that point forward.
Yeah, when she breaks her
confronted by Egwene in the World of Dreams. When Egwene confronts her in the World of Dreams, which is interesting because Egwene's actually lying about why she's in the World of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Egwene forces the weird concoction, which is such a strange punishment that Nynaeve would do to other people. Is like, here, have some horse shit, pretty much. That tastes off, does nothing for you. It's medicine. But Egwene does it to her.
That's just classic village wisdom, Jono. I mean,
well, I know.
Classic village wisdom.
Thereafter, when she lies, she tastes like horse shit in the back of her throat, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Manure.
Manure. All right, there. What else you got for me, George?
But I like what they did for her in the show, where like you said a minute ago, it didn't make sense why she just completely hated the Aes Sedai, in general, and in the books. At least in the show, they gave that a little bit of depth, where it was the wisdom that taught her, who was her mentor, tried to become an Aes Sedai, and they kind of shunned her off, and because she was from a lowly village and blah 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 blah. So I like that.
They gave her at least a reason to be fuck these people. From day one, kind of thing.
Yeah, and they also gave the braid tugging a deeper meaning for her character too. In the opening scene of episode 1, when they're braiding Egwene's hair, she says to her, anytime you feel alone or scared or you need to make a decision, you could touch this braid and know that, because every woman in the woman's circle took a turn braiding her hair, so you could touch this braid and know we're all there with you, and every woman who has braided every other woman's hair from before this is there with you, and we are supporting you. So that's a really cool thing to if you think about that. In the books, it's it's not just Nynaeve being I'm a woman, you should listen to me, or this is my security blanket. She's trying to remember her mentors and the people that helped her, and
because she does it through anger, but also fear and other things. So when you add that layer of depth to the tugging on a braid, instead of just being some nervous tick that she has, it's I don't know, adds some depth to it, it makes it a little more meaningful.
A little bit of flavor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
A little bit
great context. Very good.
I really liked that scene a lot. That was that when first of all, Rafe said that scene was shameless plug when we got to interview Rafe over on the Dragonmount
Heyo.
YouTube. You should go check it out.
Check out Dragonmount.com's interview with Rafe.
It was a lot of fun. That scene was not green screen. Like they pan back and you see this big like mountain and beautiful valley and stuff like that. That's a 100% real landscape that they filmed in Prague somewhere.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was really cool. But the just that whole conversation with Egwene and the bit that she gave her there was just fantastic. It made me really like Nynaeve's character. So like I love her in the show. Absolutely love her in the show.
So Glenn says, I think my shift on Nynaeve was more my age and maturation by the time I started to really understand her and now love her. And I think that kind of correlates with myself. Like I think I've over rereads of the books, I understand her more now because I'm an older, wiser human being than when I was 14 and started reading his books. And like, I kind of get where she's coming from, even when she is being a horrible person in the beginning. Like, and I think that's why I've come to fully like appreciate her, like from start to finish. And it's less of a dislike to like her for me, or at least I get her point of view. I get why she's messed up. I get like why she's acting the way she's acting, even though I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think she's massively illogical and a terrible person at the beginning.
She's not a terrible person.
Do you think it's something to do with being a parent and because she kind of views the kids from? I am not a parent, but like she views the Emmons Fielders like Perrin and Egwene and Rand and them as her children a little bit. So like, do you think that might have something to do with it?
It takes a village, so to speak. With your feelings. No, so again, so yes and no, but mainly no because I started to appreciate her long before I had kids. But that's that certainly helps. But like that wasn't why.
To me, I think that if you can't be honest with yourself about your own fucking emotions, then you are a giant.
Yeah, man. That's
I completely get that. But a lot of the characters aren't honest with their emotions in these books. Yeah, and I don't hate Rand, and I don't hate,
just the part that gets me is the part where it's like she's dishonest to the point to where it actually causes
that bothers me,
tangible harm, and
that bothers me. You're right.
And that's the part that bothers me. Like that, like I don't like dishonesty. In the sense of like real stuff, like if your mom asks you if she looks great in this shirt and you're like, yeah, mom, that looks great, but she looks terrible, like that's fine. Like, but like if
that's my mom looks like shit and she knows it.
And she knows it. But if you're describing something that happened and you're leaving out vital bits of information because they make you look bad, that's bad, especially when like the thing that you're describing is like terms of things that are happening toward the end of the fucking world, So
yeah. Again, though, she does become an amazing character later. Right? There's no doubt, and I think that she's a perfect kind of like, this is a character I really not hate it. Right? It's definitely not hate because again, you understand where she's.
She frustrated me.
Massively frustrating, and she stays that way. But like, there's a point where like I think it's in book 2 or 3, where like they're all in the tower, and they're trying to actually comfort Nynaeve, and she kind of jokingly goes like, "Don't try to comfort the wisdom girl," but also says it to Egwene, like a big hand on her shoulder, and it becomes like it's a very humanizing moment. Like it's really like you really like her. It's very similar to Matt Cawthon, though, right? Like when you look back on it, there's certain things that are like, I can't fucking stand this character. Now, part of Matt's thing is like the dagger makes him just fucking annoying as shit to read.
Yeah. I think the parts you get of Matt before the dagger are so inconsequential that there's no reason why you should or shouldn't like him. Really, it's just that I remembered liking him, and then I got older and went like, why did I like this? He had 5 minutes before he picked up the dagger and turned evil.
No.
The idea of anyone approaching 20 years old, oh my god!
Even as a babysitter would be a nightmare.
There's no staying up late.
Yeah, you're better for it, Dan. She knows what's best for you.
Like she would be the hot babysitter that everyone assumed was like awesome because she's so hot, and then you'd be like, no, she's horrible. I hate her.
Don't get her. She's the worst.
What do you think Nynaeve would do if she caught someone masturbating?
Oh God, I don't know, because like the book, I think show Nynaeve would like explain to them what sex is, but like book Nynaeve is the Two Rivers is so puritanical in its views on sex.
Yeah. He was really trying to drive home that in the early books too, and I think he used her as a vehicle for that a lot of the time.
So I think
that didn't help her at all either in the early books.
No. So I think she like book Nynaeve might be like, stop playing with it or you'll go blind.
Is cleansing the taint Rand healing the wounds of madness, or is Nynaeve healing madness? Interesting.
That's a good question.
Well, from Wild Man Wyatt, by the way.
Could Rand
cleansing of the taint is one of the bigger moments when you're like, fucking bravo, Nynaeve. It's also like around the time that Rand like recognizes in her like an equal sort of, or at least respects her to the point where he's like, I don't know if does he say it then, or maybe he never even says it out loud until much later. But he basically is like in his head, he's like, that's the one I'm going to take with me when I go fight. Yeah, like kind of thing. Like that's who I want with me, kind of thing. But that's an amazing. That's an amazing.
Well, that's an amazing point too. Do you think that Rand would have been able to cleanse the taint with anyone other than the best healer in the world?
I think that's kind of what he's asking. Yeah. Was it Rand like containing that somehow while she did something else mixed in with it? Or
later on too, though, she's actually able to look into Rand and others' mind and actually see kind of like almost.
Yeah, maybe it was her interaction with that like point in time that allowed her to get to that point of like, wait a second, maybe I can find a way in there.
She essentially does brain surgery later, like with the one power. She does like basically what would you like arthroscopic brain surgery with the one power being her, instrument.
Have a camera. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty fascinating shit. And also could really be helpful because I'm a little crazy.
It's true.
But yeah, so she's great character, very divisive. I like it. Well done.
Yeah, I like. Her scenes with rallying the Malkier at the end of the books. I teared up.
Oh God, so good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and the way. Just the adorable way she brings Land to like the coast and basically is like, see you at the battle, kind of like it's kind of like you're just like, this is great. She's spectacular by the end. Like by the end, she's spectacular.
I loved her. I absolutely loved her at the end of the book.
Also keeping Alana alive with just her herbs and shit because that's all she could do. Like because that's all she couldn't channel. Like that kind of thing. Like that's amazing.
Also, her teaching Moraine herbs. No, I'm kidding. That was annoying as fuck.
I mean,
I'm trying to think of.
I'm pretty sure it was Nynaeve that taught Moraine how to tickle fish out of the water.
That's a different time, and I would watch that show.
Is fish a euphemism for something there?
It's vagina.
No, just actual fish.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of another character now. I had a couple in mind. Oh, well, I mean, I guess it wasn't to the end of the series, but it's the end of their story.
It doesn't have to be full series.
So I often I've said this a lot, but like one of my favorite arcs in the entire series is Ingtar's.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, man, it really hit me like when he said to Rand, can someone walk in the shadow so long that they couldn't come back to the light, and like realizing that he was in the.
It's too bad other Thom isn't here. He'd agree with you completely.
Oh, okay. When you at that moment, was when I realized he was the guy at the Dark Friend social in the beginning, and like it was a really poignant, especially I guess it was because it's a little bit nostalgic because it happened so early in the series when I read it, but like it was a really powerful scene, and he was a really cool character. He had a sense of humor, he was a good fighter, he was a good leader, he was a good friend to Perrin and Matt and Rand, so like
he's he's definitely a character because he's introduced at the end of book 1, right? Like when they get there, like he's the one who brings Lan into Faldara. He's the one when they're going north to the Blight, escorts them to the Blight border, but can't be told why. And like he's so fucking like angry, right, about the fact that he won't be able to make it to the fight in time, most likely. And even afterwards, as they finish up, they come back into Faldara. He's still pissed off, like, hey, good thing we won this battle against the Dark, but I didn't make it in time. Boo, boo, boo. And so he's kind of like this weird, like, it seems inconsequential, man. Like 50 lances.
He's a red herring in the sense that you don't feel like he's that important until he gets a little feverish and crazy as book 2 rolls forward. Yeah, and then by the end, you're like, whoa, what? Like kind of, it's kind of amazing.
And again, there's nothing cooler though than when you put together that he was the Shinaran Lord at the Darkfriend Social. Mm-hmm. He's the one who opened the dog gate, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And he's the one who's like really his desire to turn. We find out is because he felt like he was so overwhelmed. All he saw was just defeat after defeat after defeat. That there's got to be a better way. And again, that's logical. That's pretty much why every fucking Forsaken joined, really.
Yeah.
It's not. We're just bitter pieces of shit.
Yeah. And then the one that wanted to compose music forever because.
Well, that's logic.
Yeah. That makes sense. But another to bring it back full circle, completely happenstance. Like I wish I planned it like that, but he and Sheriam actually have a similar story in the sense of neither when they both became Dark Friends, they completely did not think that the last fucking battle was going to happen in their lifetime. Like, you know what I mean? Like, could you like Sheriam specifically even says it. Like, could you imagine just being some random guy that, like being like, yeah, I'll be a Dark Friend. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm a Dark Friend now. Okay, great. Yeah, whatever you want me to do, guys.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that, like, I mean, do I think the end of the world's going to happen in my lifetime? No. Why would I?
Exactly. And then all of a sudden the fucking Dark One is actually standing.
Yeah, and you're just like, shit, it's real. It's happening.
Guys, I just, on second thought, is there an exit plan?
Brother Dan said, people love Ingtar yet hate Gawain. Baffles the sensible mind.
What?
I don't think that's baffling at all.
Yeah, they're completely different characters.
Gawain's horrible.
Yeah. Brother Dan with a great misdirection plan there.
Fair point from Glenn? No, not a fair point.
I think Brother Dan's been drinking. I think that's what it is.
We're gonna have Dan on as a third Thom.
Yeah, Dan Thom.
just to talk about Gawain.
Oh man, yeah, no, I'm not.
Which thankfully we didn't talk about tonight. That's a big one. That's a big one to keep in the pocket.
You didn't ask me to talk about
a big one in the pocket too.
Hate character.
Oh yeah. Hate. Yeah, see, that's the difference.
He's also the worst part of Egwene. So
love.
Stop previewing for the next episode.
Sorry, Thom.
Thom, that's not for you. That's for Thom.
Sorry.
That's a Thom episode.
That's a Thom.
I don't know what we're talking about.
What do you think this is? A Thom episode? It's a Thom episode that we're going to talk about Gawain.
What are we even talking about anymore?
I don't know.
So, in the vein of characters that people like and I hate.
A little tangent to tWoT69. I like it.
Yeah. But like I liked him at first, and
historically, other people like these people, and historically, Thom hates them.
but also, I liked him at first, and then hated him by the end of his story. Given his story is only like 5 pages long, but Narg, I hated Narg. Like I hate Narg. I'm so happy they didn't include him in the show.
I'm glad they didn't either. It's pointless.
And I mean, knowing what the little bit of behind the scenes that we got to learn through doing stuff at Jordan Con with like Marie and Harriet and stuff like that, about how Robert Jordan kind of didn't have the whole series fully fleshed out when he wrote the first book, and he was gearing it a little bit more toward the Lord of the Rings to try to pitch it easier to major book companies and like it makes sense that he kind of modeled one of the earliest Trollocs that we see more toward like the orcs in
Lord of the Rings or something.
Where they have language. Like well, I mean the Trollocs, even later Trollocs have language, but like where they could speak common.
Yeah, a human tongue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I always thought that was just too cheesy and like
it's a little campy. It's a little kind of just like,
especially the way he made him talk. Narg smart. I'm like, come on.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe that's all he knows in his second languge.
I guess.
He's probably very eloquent in Trolloc speak.
That's true.
Yeah, how dare you? He's a composer. He was going to stay around for another age.
He's a scholar amongst them.
He's the Nietzsche of Trollocs.
Yeah, he is now. He's dead too.
Yeah,
he's dead.
You're not wrong.
He's dead.
I think that's actually a wonderful, like, you know, I think there's always something amazing about reading The Eye of the World, because this is like the inception point for where this is going to go. And so many of the seeds for like my favorite series are right there. Obviously, it's 1/14 of it. But like certain things though, you look at and you go, the fuck was the plan here? And like, you know, I actually all of the Trollocs to start. Like the idea that like, remember like how interesting it was, like this was a, you know, Duval Trolloc versus this clan of Trollocs. Is this that had no bearing whatsoever on anything. I think it comes back briefly towards the end.
Yeah.
But like it seemed like there was going to be this tribalism with him. Really, Dark Spear is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's my favorite thing.
Each said, "Where's Clint when you need him?" And I was gonna. Clint is our DM for tWoTcast, but also like his handle on Twitter is Trolloc Talk Tom. But he hates Narg. The joke is that he's a Trolloc who can talk, and that Narg is misrepresenting their ability.
Misrepresenting him.
Yeah.
He's making us
He's
all
like,
look bad.
he's the worst of us.
He's the dumbest.
Why do they always put the worst one on television?
Yeah, it's a question. But yeah, so again, so many great things in the Eye of the World, but Narg is definitely one of those where I
What's another people like that you don't, Tom?
tWoTcast.
What was it?
tWoTcast.
Yeah, Jono, man. Jono's the worst.
Oh, I hear
it's
that all
because
the time.
he's a ginger. Also, I love him because he's a ginger, but I also hate him because he's a ginger.
Yeah.
No. Oh man, that's. I don't know. I mean, I love.
Oh, if you don't have one in your pocket, then don't worry about it.
No, I don't think I have another one in my pocket like right away. Like, I mean, other than like not early book Nynaeve, a lot of people seem to love her, but I don't. And then Narg, everyone loves Narg. Everyone loves making jokes about Narg, and every time I read that section, I'm like,
all right, I will do this. I'll do
All
this.
right.
This should be the last one because we're gonna get egged off this fucking stage that we're alone in. Bella.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
I love Bella. Bella has a special place in my heart. Is she? Is it dumb? Absolutely. Like, is it dumb that this pack horse is somehow able to survive and keep up with war horses on the battlefield through the blight in the ways? Like, yes. But it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it.
But it's a lot of fun.
I think the weirdest thing is no one acknowledges the fact that Bella is Tam Althor's horse, right?
And they steal it.
Then, so we'll call it Rand's horse. Rand gives it to Egwene, and thereafter, Egwene never so much says anything about like, "Hey, here's your horse back." It then eventually gets to Swan. Here's your horse back. Fucking Fael rides Bella in the middle of book 14.
Yeah.
No one ever thinks like this is the Althor horse. It's just Bella. You've just absconded with a pretty important piece of property a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like no one and it's just like this thing has literally outlived its life. Good for Bella. I don't begrudge her that. But you would have thought these guys would have just replaced Bella with any fucking gelding stallion or anything that was a little more dependable. Clearly, this is the most dependable horse.
Obviously, yeah.
from an outside.
And it's canon in the story. It's the most dependable horse, John.
She's the VW bug of horses.
Yeah, you should have probably changed this horse out 10 books ago.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, so here's the thing. You know when she dies,
and then doesn't die.
So here's the thing. I'm on Jono's page. Didn't care.
Yeah, I didn't care at all.
Understand. I was just like, whatever.
You know,
I was more worried about
I hope Cloud's okay. Or
I was way more worried about Ulver than the horse.
Yeah.
To me, it was just the horse's name that he just kept passing down. It's like the umbrella that gets left in a taxi cab.
Yeah.
You know, like it just goes to the next person and you never see it again. Baton being passed around the world.
He used it as a placeholder name for horses and then just forgot to change it.
Yeah.
Spoiler: Bella dies.
Thank God.
Listen, we all know Bella dies. Also, we said spoilers at the beginning, Dan.
Yeah.
I love if you read the Witcher books, right? So Sapkowski, yeah. Like all of Geralt of Rivia's book, or his horses are just named Roach because he doesn't want to learn a new name. So every horse he just calls it Roach. But
Okay.
Good enough, right? Bella should have been the same fucking thing. Like just call the same new horse Bella.
At least the wolves had personality.
Thank you, Wild Man.
That's
Good one.
man, another
That's a good
gold one from Wild Man Wild.
Yeah. So,
You said I didn't even notice she died. To be honest, it shocked me when so much when I realized people cared.
it's so weird.
I love the fans.
So again,
that has developed around Bella.
I like Bella. I think she's great. Again, but it's just like whatever. It's a horse, man. You know, like it just never. Like, it wasn't a blip on my radar.
It was just the way Jordan described Aldib and Mandarb and how they were so well trained and and like, you know, like how valuable the training that they receive and their experience in battle and how they're not scared and how they can run and how they can move. And then Bella just to be able to keep up with them as a pack horse.
Well,
I think on that note, though, I think Bella's usefulness as a prop dies the second, like when they use her as like Rand secretly healed her and didn't even realize he was doing it or something, and like when Moraine goes to heal the horses in Eye of the World, she doesn't need to be healed.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a Moraine going like, huh, interesting, you know, kind of thing, and like us after that moment, it was like you don't even need that horse anymore. It's it's literally like that's the one reason to have the horse there.
Yeah. And
it was perfect.
In the spot that we're reading on Way of the Leaf, Egwene just thought about Bella specifically, like she's riding a horse or she asks Swan to go get her horse, and she comes back with tydishar and not Bella, and she's like, oh, I think I might rather ride Bella for the nostalgia, but the Amerlin should be on a more proper horse. Mm-hmm. So it's right that she brought me tydishar instead of Bella. So like even Egwene at that point doesn't give a fuck about Bella. Like
she's like Rand's the fucking Dragon Reborn. He doesn't care about his horse anymore. If anything, we should open a gateway and give it back to Tam.
Serious. Again, if Tam's living like a normal fucking life, like everyone assumed he was, Bella as a horse is worth a huge amount to him, I bet. You know, so let's just deprive him of that.
Well, not at this point. It's the last battle, Jono. I don't know if you realize that, but he doesn't care about the horse anymore. He's not making brandy right now and bringing it down to the end. He's defending the two rivers with parrots.
That's fair. But from the first book, though, like a farmer without his only horse is like, you know, he can't pull his wagon anymore. Like
hamstrung, totally hamstrung.
I mean, his best friend is the greatest judge of whore's flesh in the entire two rivers. I don't understand what the problem is.
You're right. You're absolutely correct, sir.
And yet
Tam can get his hands on another horse through Abel Cawthon in 2 seconds.
Bella's a Honda, Brother Dan. Well, she's a Honda Civic without actually the engine being souped up, but a giant spoiler in the back with a
Giant
really
spoiler,
shitty fucking muffler on it that just makes it sound loud, but isn't actually good at anything.
It's not actually good. Yeah, it's not actually a good car.
Is that tWoTcast this week?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, first of all, it's been twat 69 for this week.
What a great segment! Whoever thought of that idea was
who thought of this segment?
Just looking to shoehorn any dumb segment.
We covered an interesting array of characters.
That's what I thought.
By the way, I'm really glad I shoehorned Matt in there.
And non-characters.
They were a lot of side characters we were talking about tonight. Well, Nynaeve.
The one thing I know about the person who came up with this idea is they're not a ginger, for sure.
That's true. Yeah.
No ginger could have come up with
No
this.
ginger could have thought of this.
No.
Yeah. So that's tWoTcast this week. If you have any comments or questions, which I'm sure you've got a lot of questions, leave them below or email them to us. And if you have a theory, we will theoretically get back.
Hey, I'm currently better at it, Jono. I actually respond to people now.
Nice.
There's only like 4 comments I haven't responded to right now.
Can I make a shameless plug?
Of course.
Yeah. Oh well, that's for the.
Thank you to our guest Thom from Dragonmount, and also a puppet on the way of the leaf. Thom, do you have any plugs?
I do actually. So another thing that I started doing recently is with my fantastic sister from another mister, Beth Doman.
Oh yeah. What do you got doing? What do you got going on with her?
Her and I have started streaming some gaming over on Twitch.
Yeah.
And we found actually recently she introduced me to recently a fan-made, so unofficial Wheel of Time board game that is a lot of fun. Like, even if you I have been suggesting this to people. I'm just grabbing the Discord information for it. I'm going to send it to you, Joe, if you could post it, because
I was gonna say links, I already have dragonmount.com linked to below, but I'll add Way of the Leaf if for some fucking reason someone that's watching the show doesn't know where to find the Way of the Leaf. But I'll add the Way of the Leaf because you're obviously on that show as well. But yeah, send me the link for your stuff with Beth, and I'll add that to your links below.
I appreciate that. So I just sent the link to the Discord for Third Age.
I just got a DM. I'm gonna delete this.
Yeah, delete it right now.
Delete that.
So like I said, it's a Wheel of Time fan-made board game. It's a great board game. So like, even if you don't, or if you know people that aren't into Wheel of Time but they like board games, I play a lot of board games. I'm a fucking huge nerd. It's very well made. Like,
wait, you're a nerd?
Yeah, I know, right? It's a very well-made board game. It's balanced very well. The art is great. Most of it's scrubbed from the internet, but he does give credit to the artist. He left their watermarks on it. It's actually mostly Ariel Burgess art and then Tor art that he just Googled pictures up front for. And then a couple that he made, he made the map of the board on Incarnate. So it's the Wheel of Time Ranland map, but he did it on Incarnate. So it looks a little different than the regular one. But yeah, so we play that and we stream it over on Twitch. So right now we're doing a giveaway where if you follow both Beth and Dragonmount on Twitch, you'll have a chance to win the issues 3 and 4 of the Wheel of Time graphic novel that's being reprinted by Macmillan Books right now.
Okay.
So someone actually won this already, but I gave them 3 weeks to respond to my message and they haven't responded. So to give me an address to send the books to. So I said 10 days ago, I was like, hey, listen, if you don't respond by Monday, I'm going to start the thing again. So
I'm going on tWoTcast to give it away. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you want a chance to win, I just sent over to y'all the ats if you want to put it in chat too. So you have to follow Beth Doman on Twitch, and she's just at Beth Doman, BETHDOMON, and then also Dragonmount, which is Dragonmount com. So Dragonmount com.
C-U-M?
That's the other one. That's the OnlyFans Dragonmount. Yeah.
Dragon. Yeah, go on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, someone else had the Dragonmount name, and they haven't been active in like 10 years. So I emailed Twitch again yesterday to be like, hey, can you, because they have like a process that you can request names for accounts that have been inactive for a long time, but they haven't responded yet. So we'll see. But anyway, if you're following both of us, which is a free thing to do, you don't have to subscribe or anything. Next week on Monday, when we do our rewatch, which Beth is a guest for, we will announce the winner. So
what are you guys watching?
Okay, cool.
What's up?
What are you
currently rewatching on Dragonmount?
We're doing The Last of Us. We'll be watching episode 8.
Great show.
Which is
Is that the end?
No, 9 is the last episode. So this is the one where she meets the priest, the cannibal priest.
Yeah.
The cannibal / pedophile priest.
Well, that's just the right triumvirate for a human.
I said priest.
He also really likes to make it cold outside and give people headaches.
It's true.
Yeah.
I did already say priest, so I guess it's redundant to say pedophile, but
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Join us next week for our Catholic conversation.
You can listen to the audio version of this show wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, I'm a Reformed Catholic. I went to Catholic. I had nuns as teachers.
Podcast. Theme songs brought to you by the one and only Taffy Pennington and Andrew Bart of Time. Links to their stuffs below as well.
Thank you, Thom, for your work, and thank you, Thom, for offending everyone at the end. I'm just kidding. Who gives a shit? Yeah, that's the most offensive thing.
That's the most offensive man in the world.
Yeah. Join us next week for more of the Wheel of Time, covering TWoT 69 with another Thom.
Probably more TWoT 69. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably another Thom.
Yeah. And pay attention. We may or may not find out that we're kind of, Joe and Actual and me, a quasi uncle to some dumb, unfortunate kid from Thom.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about the child yet.
It's gonna be Thom's kid. It'll be dumb and unfortunate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's
not saying a lot.
Yeah. Sad but true, I guess. Right?
I apologize, future nephew.
When you totally watch this in 20 years.
In 20 years.
Yeah, 20. Yeah. I'm Jono. Suck brick, kid.
Keep the change and filthy animals.
Yeah. What he said. Ditto.
Yeah. There you go.
Among the first to start, the tWoTcast was so smart to lovingly bash our favorite books. But that was long ago, and now they've grown the show, and now they got us in their hooks. Don't throw coins to these bastards, they need bars of gold at least. Someone please keep them afloat. Now let's listen as they once again ramble through a book. Let's get the fucking quote. One of them is Thom, but he is barely on. Sometimes he calls into the show. Another one is Jono. Is he their joker? Oh no. And Joe, is he the stupid one? Welcome to the tWoTcast. We will share our love for books and all our hate in every episode. We'll entertain you, make you laugh so hard you barely can stand up. That is the tWoTcast goal.